All right, welcome to Talkin' Investing. I'm Tom, and as always, this is not financial advice. Today, I want to do a video on the Tattooed Chef, stock ticker TTCF. Those of you familiar with my channel, you know that I review them every time they release their quarterly results. So I want to update that. There was some massively important information in this update. So I really want to go through this one. We're going to go through some charts that I follow closely and update on a quarterly basis for this stock. So I want to get through all of that and talk about what's going on. So if you're new to the channel, remember to subscribe and hit the notification bell. Also, if everybody could please smash the like button, I appreciate it. It helps the channel out a lot. Lastly, if you want to join the channel, you can become a member by hitting the join button on YouTube. So if you don't see a join button, there should be a link below. I do some members only content. In addition to that, I do a once a week members only live stream, and the members get to pick a video each week for me to do a deep dive on. So we'd love to have you there. You're welcome to join us. Let's talk about the Tattooed Chef. All right, the Tattooed Chef is down substantially today. I'm gonna start by just taking a look at where they're at. The trading day is not over yet, but right now they're trading at about $2.70, down 19%. It was worse than that. They did get down to their 52-week / all-time low today at $2.43. So they're up off of their lows, but still down almost 20% on the day. And this is after a big move down last week. They put out their earnings release for Q3 today. They did not put out their 10K yet. They filed a form to say that's going to be late. But last week they gave a heads up that there was going to be some, not necessarily great news ahead. So the stock took a hit last week, and now when people see what it actually is taking another hit again today. So I want to talk about where Tattooed Chef stands. At $2.70, is this stock a buy, or are these guys in trouble? So I want to dig in and talk about that. Okay, Tattooed Chef reports third quarter 2022 financial results. This is the quarter ended September 30th, 2022. Third quarter financial overview compared to third quarter of 2021. Net revenue of $54.1 million compared to $58 million. When we go to my chart, you're going to see a much more detailed analysis of this. Gross loss was $3.9 million, so they did not even have gross profit. Just their cost of sales was more than their sales. And that is not a good sign. Or gross margin of negative 7.2% compared to gross profit of $5 million, or a gross margin of 8.6% last year, same quarter. So one of the problems with this company is this is like 6 to 8 quarters in a row where they continue to reduce their profitability. At one point, they were saying they were going to have gross profit up at 25 to 30%. It's now you're going to see all the way down to 0. And in fact, in this particular quarter, it was actually negative. So a net loss on the quarter of $38.5 million. Adjusted EBITDA was a loss of $25.5 million. So pretty much no matter which way you sliced it, they lost money this quarter. This was not a good quarter. I don't want to put any spin on this. So I'm going to continue to give warnings. This situation is getting ugly for the Tattooed Chef. Okay, so this is a comment from Sam Galletti, the CEO. They start out by, "We are disappointed in our third quarter results." As previously announced, and that's the announcement they put out about a week ago when this stock took a big leg down on that announcement, "We have developed and are now executing a plan that we believe will put us on a path towards sustainable growth and profitability." Okay, so obviously the market does not like any of that. Starting out with, "We are very disappointed in the third quarter." I mean, at least it's honest, but this was not a good quarter, folks. And it's the very thing that I warned about in the last quarter, the last 2 quarters actually in a row. This is a company that can't seem to put consecutive quarters in a row that are moving in the right direction. Every once in a while, they have an outstanding quarter, but I say each time, I need to see 2 or 3 quarters in a row. And last month, I specifically did a video that I need to see the third quarter. And, well, in fact, let me show you what I said. Really, there's no line of support for this company, and I would expect them to keep setting new all-time lows until at least the third quarter information comes out, but that could be very ambiguous. I think what we really need to wait for is that fourth quarter information. Okay, so, all right, so that's what I had to say in my video a month ago. And if you go through that video, I do a deep dive on why that's true. They have some stuff coming in the fourth quarter that looked like maybe was going to have a lot of potential. But unfortunately, by the time you finish reading this third quarter report, you're going to see their projections for the fourth quarter are not good. Okay, third quarter results. Net revenue decreased by 6.7% to $54.1 million in Q3 2022 from $58 million for the 3 months ended September 30th, 2021. So that's year over year. They're saying the decrease is a result of a $10.3 million year over year decrease in Tattooed Chef branded products. So that is my deepest concern. This is a company that is trying to create a brand name. They're spending a massive amount of money trying to create a brand name. They've rolled out massive amount of new products under the Tattooed Chef brand. This used to be a private label company. That is still a part of their business, but they're moving away from that. The point of this was to brand the Tattooed Chef. So the fact that they had a $10.3 million year-over-year decrease in branded sales is the worst news in this entire press release. So they then say private label and other revenue increased 27.4% or $6.4 million year over year, driven by revenue contributions from acquisitions. So, they list their acquisitions. So that is not really what I'm looking at this company. I think most shareholders are not looking at this company hoping they'll get off-brand sales. They want their branded Tattooed Chef. This company is called the Tattooed Chef. We're looking for increase in sales in their products. They have dramatically increased the number of SKUs that they've gotten onto shelves. They've dramatically increased the number of shelves they're on as far as stores go. And in the fourth quarter, they have a gigantic deal with Walmart that's going to give them a big increase again. Yet, despite all of that, their sales are shrinking, their branded sales. So it's a very disturbing trend. Cost of goods sold increased by 9.4% in Q3 to $58 million from $53 million in Q3 of 2021. So I'm going to do some quarter over quarter stuff because, in these small cap high growth stocks, I always say, year over year is not as meaningful to me. You expect quarter over quarter growth in a small cap high growth stock like this. So this is no longer behaving like a high growth stock, in my opinion. When the top line is going down and then your profit is going down, and in this case, your loss, that's not acting like a growth company. Now, that is not my final conclusion on this stock. There's a lot more, we need to think about, but what I'm saying is directionally at the moment, they're putting some momentum together in the wrong direction. I know this is a very popular retail stock. There's other YouTubers that cover this stock. Some people who I take very seriously that I think are strong YouTubers. But I think I'm on the other side of this one, and I'm very worried about Tattooed Chef right now. Okay, lastly, they say the decline in branded product sales was driven by a $15 million decline in a tier 1 club and retail account. So this is another thing, concentration of risk. They are expanding the number of customers that they have, but if they have one tier 1 customer that accounts for $15 million, that is a gigantic chunk of their overall sales. It's the better part of 50% or more of their branded sales in a quarter. So, that's risk we always look for. Is there concentration risk in customers, in supply chain? So Here we have an exact example playing out where they lost a giant portion of their sales, it looks like due to one customer. Okay, lastly, full year 2022 outlook. As previously announced, the company's outlook for 2022 is as follows. Revenue of $235 to $245 million. That is down from prior guidance of $280 to $285 million. They were at $280 to $285 3 quarters in a row. They reiterated that guidance. And now for the fourth quarter, the quarter where they're rolling out multiple products in thousands of Walmart stores, they are now reducing their estimated revenue for the year by about $40 million. So obviously that is not what I was looking for at all. Gross margin of 0 to 3%, down from prior guidance of 8 to 10%. And again, that 8 to 10% guidance is down. If you trace 3 to 4 reports backwards, they were talking about 25 or more than 25% gross profit. So this has moved in the wrong direction. Almost every single report, probably 4 or 5 reports in a row at least. Then they say the company also announced that it intends to raise additional debt or equity capital in the near future. Well, my issue with that is this stock is down radically. This stock's down to $2.70. It hit its all-time low today. So now is not really the time to be raising money through equity. They just raised some money through debt. I'm not trying to be overly pessimistic. I'm just trying to tell this exactly like it is. This is not a good quarter. That, again, I want to reiterate, that doesn't mean that I'm saying they're done and they're out of business. There's time left for them, but they have got to, this is urgent. They have got to next quarter and beyond. They've got to start having positive results. They have to, this new plan that they've implemented to cut cost and increase gross profit margins, if we don't see that happening in 1 to 2 quarters, then I will say we're looking at a company that may not make it to the finish line. Again, this is not financial advice. I can't tell you to buy this stock or sell this stock. You guys got to do your own due diligence. I'm giving you my opinion on how I read what's going on here. We've talked about this chart on the channel on a quarterly basis, so I wanted to update it for this quarter. This quarter I put in red, $25 million. And I will tell you, they did not report that number. They reported enough information for me to calculate that number on my own. but this is the first quarterly report they've ever put out where they didn't even tell us what the branded sales were. They just told us they were not good, and they gave us parameters by which to calculate them on our own if we want to. So you'll see this is the worst quarter they've had in years from a branded sales standpoint. That is the absolute opposite direction of what we were hoping. They had a fantastic first quarter, so that's 2 years in a row where Q1 was just an outlier and it was outstanding. Unfortunately, now this is 2 quarters in a row. Q2 branded sales were down 22%, and then Q3 brand sales quarter over quarter were down another 26% from there. So this is a drastic move to the downside, and you can see you got to go all the way back to Q4 of 2020 for sales to be this low. You know, they knocked about $40 million out of their revenue guidance, and I'm afraid that a lot of that is their branded product. In my opinion, this company will either thrive and survive or fail to survive based on the success of their branded Tattooed Chef products. So let's take a look at the chart. Okay, this is the Tattooed Chef on the 1 week time frame. So what I wanted to show you here is just from their all-time high, which was back in 2020. So that was far outside of the 12-month window. But from top to bottom, this stock is down over 90% in essentially the last almost 2 years. If I fast forward all the way to August 30th, 2021, so that's just outside of our 12-month window, that was 14 or 15 months ago, the stock is still down 89.5, almost 90% from that time. Okay, this is Tattooed Chef on the 1 day time frame. So each one of these candles represents 1 day. So you can see this was last week. We were up here. There was a giant gap down on their press release last week that they were restructuring. And now on the press release for earnings, another gigantic gap down. So just from their highs on the 10th of November, and it's now the 16th, they're down 40%, and it was worse than that this morning. But that's just in the last 1 week. Half of that's today. Well, it's down 68% just in the last 3 months. So every way you look at this stock has been moving in the wrong direction. My biggest fear for them is they need more money. So hopefully they can find some type of longer term credit facility where they can borrow money at a reasonable rate. If they have to raise money through equity, I suppose they can do so, but down 90% off of their highs, this is not the greatest time to start raising equity. So I think this report came out worse than I expected, but so I think in the future what we need to look for, what I will be looking for specifically with the Tattooed Chef is, can they increase that gross profit margin? They're going to have to raise prices. They're going to have to try to work on lowering costs. They're going to have to work on lowering their overhead. They got to manage their cash flow and find a way to get some cash in the door, either through debt or equity, that's not too punishing to them. So that is the challenge ahead for the Tattooed Chef. Obviously this stock could make it. There's a lot of people that have deep confidence in this company. So, if they do make it, then possibly, these are buying opportunities. But I am staying away for now. I've been saying that for several quarters. So I think this stock is down somewhere on the magnitude of 75 or 80% since I've been saying I'm staying away from it. But again, this is not financial advice. You guys need to do your own due diligence and decide if maybe this is a buying opportunity or not. So that's my update. A lot going on with the Tattooed Chef. Hopefully this was of some use to you guys. So thanks so much for watching. Remember to subscribe to the channel, and remember you can join the channel by hitting the join button. It's only $5 a month, so we would love to have you. It's a bunch of extra content and some live streams. So hopefully we'll see you there. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.